Hey, Philly Just, how's everything? This is a reply to religion. I'm going to address the idea of nationality, heritage, and race. Nationality is basically your nation. You can be a Chinese person and you be born in America. That makes you an American, but your heritage would be China. It would be maybe the Shang Dynasty, or maybe it might be mainland China, or it could be one of the tribes in China. Your race is that you're Chinese. You follow me? A long time ago, your heritage, your race, and your nationality all was one. Where are you from? I'm from, you say, Rome. That makes me a Roman. This is my heritage. But when people started moving around, your heritage became your identity. Your race is the group of people, and your nationality is where you was born. So, as an example, we say that we are African American, so our heritage would be Africa, our nationality would be Americans, and our race would be whatever tribe we came from, Africa. Breaking down nationality, race, and heritage. African Americans, if you look at us as a people, we don't look African. We don't. And when you look at Africans, Africans are very skinny. Here's a picture. They don't usually get bulky like us African Americans. If you look at Obama even has a African bot to him. I want to show you something else. This is a picture from Newsweek, and they basically wrote an article on Adam and Eve, and inside the article they talked about if there were to be a creator, or if the planet was to create something, they would put them in a warm environment. So basically they made them light-skinned black people. Wouldn't exist in reality, because when you get close to a place that's warm, you're going to get darker.
I came as soon as I heard. What is it, Doc? There's no easy way to put this. That brown spot on your child's arm. It's a rare and incurable skin disease. It will spread all over his body. His skin will continue to grow blacker and blacker, and blacker and even blacker, and more blacker and blacker, and then even blacker. Talk in plain English, damn it! I can't understand what you're saying! Eventually he will be indistinguishable from a Negro. No! Not that! Anything but that!
If God was to create a people, or if we're going to evolve from nothing, it would want to evolve to the point that it could use the planet's resources and make the people. So it would be natural for the planet to make dark-skinned people. Something like the Green Giant or the Incredible Hulk. The Green Giant and the Incredible Hulk absorb sun radiation, right? Just like a plant, and it gives them their strength. Gamma radiation, sun radiation, Green Giant, photosynthesis, endless amount of energy. Superman absorbs the sun's energy. Now we know Superman's a black guy, because there's no way on God's green earth that white flesh is going to absorb light. Come on now, that's just ridiculous. A more appropriate depiction of Superman would be John Hancock, the movie Will Smith played. I have a YouTube video that I want you to see, and I'm going to insert it right here.
Son, now this is an interesting one. Black parents, white baby, it simply says. And it's an exclusive on a black couple who have given birth to a white girl. Wow. Right.
Imagine the shock.
Imagine the explanation. You'd have to be careful.
Imagine the explanation.
Ben and Angela, how do you feel about little Machi?
We feel excited having new baby, and at the same time a bit kind of having nothing much to say. I mean, knowing not what to say from what comes out of the birth.
What do you think, Angela? First time you see Machi?
Well, first time I saw the baby, I'm happy to have a baby. At the same time, I was surprised to see the blonde hair. Even when I was in my room, where they kept me, some people that saw me there and saw the baby say, it was a strange and a surprise that, did I marry a white? Is my husband a white man? I said, no. How come? I said, I don't know. This is just the way I saw the baby. So.
And you, Ben, when you first saw Machi, what did you think?
Well, it was almost the same, like she was being surprised, and at the same time happy to have a new baby, but it was still confusing that we have a blonde, you know, in a complete black family. But I had to ask questions because I never knew actually what it is about, and I'm sure personally that it's my kid.
You never in doubt, do you?
I'm sure it's my kid, but I don't know why she's blonde.
But you said that they first thought it was for albinism. But
yeah. The nurse thought it was. She was albino. But when they checked the eyes, they said the eyes are clear. That is not albino.
But now that the doctors are saying she's not albino, but what are they telling you now?
So, but the midwife that came today, this morning, she was saying that it might be generation past, past, you know, that maybe from where the child was, you know, originated from, the blonde hair, that kind of.
But so then, in that case, if it's such generations past, does it mean that there were two whites or mixed race? And if there's a mixed race, it won't come blonde. Actually, normally I've not seen that.
Is there any white? Do you know of any white relatives on either side of your family?
I don't know of white originated relative, but I know that my mom is fair in complexion.
Just only the mom.
But she's from, it's an Igbo from Nigeria.
But she's still black.
She's black.
Yeah, she's black. Just the color.
And have you've seen albinos in Nigeria, and do they look like?
No. This one is different from the real people we call that's albino. The eyes always they blink their eye, and even the head, they shade their head, you know, so they can't even see very well. But they say the eyes of my baby is okay, clear, so it's different from what we judge as albino in our own back home.
And the name Machi, explain.
Machi is the beauty of God.
Yeah, that's as the name implies. That's it. We think it's a thing of beauty, nothing else. Yeah. And the name just came looking at her. We didn't just decide that we will call her this before she came out. But we thought that's what her name should be. We just agreed on it. So that's how she.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thanks,
welcome. Yeah.
The reason for skin and eye colour is all down to one thing and one thing alone, which is the pigment called melanin. And there are about 12 genes that control the amount and the way melanin is laid down in skin and eyes. And there's usually a difference between African and European, let's say, versions of this gene. But if there's, we're all of us genetic mixtures to some extent, so occasionally you'll have the convergence of, if you like, the pale versions of these genes in African Americans, African Caribbeans that have got a mixed black and white ancestry, or black and white people among their ancestors, and that will occasionally come together. But that doesn't seem to be the case here, because from what I read and from what I've heard, that the parents are Nigerians with little known white ancestry at all. So that makes it unusual, and there may be, of course you can't say without looking into it further if one wanted to, but there may be an unusual mutation happening in the little girl, but isn't she beautiful?
Now, if you go back and listen, they said that the baby was not an albino. It was a white child. And the people who gave birth to this white child were black people from Africa. So this shows you that the morphology in the gene is still happening to this day. The genes morph, just like in X-Men. So if we're going to go to the biblical text, it would only be appropriate to say that Adam and Eve had to be dark-skinned, and they give birth to dark-skinned children. Over a period of time, Noah had 3 sons. But he finally fathered 3 mixed children. One was white, one was Asian, and one was black. The Bible doesn't really say that word for word brothers were sleeping with brothers and sisters and nephews and everything else, but that's just what's assumed. That's what I always assume, and that's what was always taught to me. So that's just what I think. You know, I can't scripturally back that up, nor will I point you to a scripture, nor will I sit there and tell you that this is found in the Bible. But Adam had a whole bunch of children and everything else, and then the world started getting populated, and it's thought to believe that the children were sleeping with each other, and they basically made the human race what it is today. Back then, the retard gene didn't really exist like it exists today. My personal opinion, and what I have been studying and what I have taught from medical experts, that white people and black people are 2 different people. Their organs are not interchangeable with our organs. So that would mean that there are another form of man. Example, we are man, they are mankind, kinda like a man. Man.
This is a skull of a modern human, and this is from a Neanderthal. Look closely and you can see that this one has a slightly longer brain case. Most scientists believe that these are 2 separate species, and there wasn't much interaction between the 2. But now we know there was interbreeding, and that all non-Africans living today are part Neanderthal. The researchers extracted DNA from Neanderthal fossils and compared it with that taken from people living today. They found that the DNA of Europeans and Asians is Neanderthal.
It's a very exciting discovery because it gives us really the first strong evidence that there was interbreeding with people like the Neanderthals. And it means that modern humans in different parts of the world may have slightly different mixes.
And the Neanderthal in me has always said Neanderthal. I stand quite corrected.
There are many jokes about people behaving like Neanderthals, but it seems the joke could be on us. Research has found that many human beings actually have Neanderthal DNA, proving there's an evolutionary link.
The Neanderthal, that beastly evolutionary outcast, thought to be extinct for 30,000 years. But scientists believe they've picked up the trail of that hairy historic reject in the most surprising of places.
In us, many of us anyway, there is new evidence that humans inherited up to 4% of our DNA from Neanderthals.
The study in the journal Science is based on painstaking research into 3 Neanderthal bone fragments. Scientists reconstructed the Neanderthal genetic code and compared it to modern humans from across the globe and found there was up to a 4% match with humans everywhere but from Africa. The theory is that our human ancestors migrating out of Africa some 70,000 years ago had some amorous encounters with Neanderthals somewhere in the Middle East.
We mean that they interbred or they had sex.
This is the first real evidence Neanderthals and humans had kids, which means, despite the old assumption that Neanderthals disappeared from the evolutionary chart,
Neanderthals aren't quite extinct. They all live on a little bit in many of us.
The research is part of a major project mapping the Neanderthal's genome and hopefully providing firm answers to a number of evolutionary questions.
If you've ever accused someone of being a Neanderthal, then tonight you've been proved right.